and welcome the people online. Also, we'd like to invite you to come back because you can learn more each time you go. Return. There's more information. You'll hear it in a different way. And we have a lot of great speakers for you tonight to give you an education about your money and how you should be using it. I'd like to introduce William to introduce to you the 6 steps of financial independence.
All right. Like Joyce says, we're here to educate you. I don't know if she covered that part, but we're Empower Financial Services, and we like to show people how to grow and save money, primarily by giving them an education first off. And we're going to go ahead and start with the 6 steps to financial security. So Shane, if you want to go to the first step, increase cash flow. Lindsay, how do you increase cash flow? You work. You work, yes, you get an income. Okay, what's another way to increase your cash flow? So increasing it up with an income, how can you also increase your cash flow?
Changing your tax deduction on your check.
So dealing with expenses. So you can either, what you're saying is increase your income, or you can reduce your expenses, or both. So that's how we increase cash flow. We want to do this. Number 2. Step number 2. All right, Joyce, what does number 2 say?
Establish an emergency account.
Establish an emergency account. Now, what we coach at Empower is half of your annual income you should have in an account ready for any sort of emergency. We believe that this is an appropriate amount. If I were to be out of work, I'd want about 6 months of income in order to support myself and my family and dependents if I have, if I have them, in order to be financially secure. All right, step number 3. Manage and eradicate debt. So at Empower, we coach people how to do this. Debt is not a great thing. It's a huge cause of stress. It can kill you. We all know that's true, and a lot of people are in debt. 40% of Americans can't take out $400 in case of an emergency. So that goes back to step number 2. And how do we increase the amount that you have in case of emergency? Well, we deal with debt. Once you've dealt with your debt and you're debt free, then guess what? You increase your cash flow by reducing your expenses. So step number 4, EPP, ensure proper protection. Okay, so people insure many things. They insure their car, they insure their phone, they insure their health. But the number one thing that people generally do not insure is their income. At Empower, we teach you how to do this. Okay, so pitchers, they may insure their arm because it's their source of what, Trey?
Their income.
Their income. Okay. So what happens if they get in a car accident, something happens to their arm? They're not going to be able to work and therefore have an income. You go to step number 1. These are all intercorrelated, but ultimately we believe this covers the circle, the shell of security. They're all related. EPP, ensuring your income, is important because if you can't work, you can't get what? Money. And money is necessary for protecting your family, for creating emergency accounts, for dealing with debt. All that stuff doesn't stop if you can't work. Okay? So we coach you how to ensure that. Step number 5, build long-term savings. So talked about emergency account, that's separate than building long-term savings. Why? Because one day we'd like to enjoy retirement, such as Bob, who is retired, 73 years old, enjoying retirement, party animal, but build long-term savings. Bob did that. He put in his time to work, and he's reaping the benefits and enjoying his security. Not a lot of people do this. Shane Young, one of my mentors, he's told me about, he doesn't like to go to Costco and see older people signing receipts. I don't like to see older people at gas stations. And they're either having a happy face and they want to be there, but most of them don't. And it's because they didn't do one of two things. They didn't, number one, have a plan to get to a point where their long-term savings would be able to make them financially insecure. Or two, they had a plan and it didn't go according to that plan. We like to coach people on having a plan that you put your best foot forward. And we like to bring the best foot forward to show to y'all, because we think we found the best, very best thing for people. So number 6, preserve your estate. What is an estate? An estate is a combination of everything that you owe and everything that you own. When you deal with our services, fortunately, at 24 years old, actually I'm 25 as of December. Wow, that's interesting. Time flies. I'm fortunate enough to say that, if I were to pass away, my estate, it's not very big at 25. However, you've got expenses, you've got funeral costs, and you've got debt. I've got a little bit of credit card debt. Who would that pass on to? Pass on to my family and my loved ones. And we just coach you, preserve your estate. We teach you how to do that. So we're going to go into the financial strategies, the philosophies that make Empower one unique, because we cover things that wasn't taught in high school, wasn't covered in college. But before we get to that, we're going to introduce ourselves. So who are we? Our company, a consumer advocacy organization. Our concept is freedom and education. Our crusade, which it is a crusade because a lot of Americans, like I previously said, haven't been exposed to the information you're going to be exposed to tonight. What do? Well, we do every single area of focus when it comes to finances, ensuring your income, protecting your estate, building long-term savings. Those 6 steps, we cover and address each one of those 6 steps, primarily by using 2 vehicles. So if we want to move on. So the Bear Bryant strategy. Bear Bryant, famous college football coach, said what? Offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. Bear Bryant said that. Makes sense. It's philosophy. I'm a rugby player myself. I know this to be true and correct. A lot of us here at Empower are, we're sports orientated because we coach people. We coach people in order to reach their financial goals with strategies that make sense. Where do they come from? They come from billionaires. We listen to billionaires, not just millionaires, because they've already been there, they've already done it. If you want to go somewhere in life, why not emulate the people that have already been there? Okay? So defensively, number 1, teach you how to defend against market loss. I don't want my money in the market. Market will do anything. It'll go up, it'll go down, maybe it'll just stay level. Who knows? It's all dependent on what? Maybe President Obama says something weird, different, and the market drops. Or maybe Justin Bieber does a great concert and goes worldwide, breaks some album out, economy will go up. The point is that there's so many variables, there's so many factors that go into what makes our economy strong that it's almost impossible to guess at it. If my money, such as a qualified plan, 401k, 403b, is in the market, I'm subject to market loss. 2008, everyone knows what happened.
House bubble.
I'm sorry?
House bubble.
The house bubble, okay? The banks lending people money put our economy into a dire situation in 2008 because people couldn't pay it back. It's unfortunate, and everyone who had their money in the market suffered about 30 to 40% loss. And I'm here to help in the education process to prevent that. So defensive strategy number 2. Fees and commissions. Makes sense. I mean, none of these philosophies are going to be coming off as, whoa, I didn't know that. Yes, but we feel like fees and commissions, we include this because you don't know what you're being charged. You may not know. I mean, you may think that 2%, 4% average on a house, on a house mortgage is not that much. However, if you end up doing the math, it ends up being a lot more. Bob, you remember when we discussed, and do you mind if I use your situation? No. So Bob here, I've been talking to Bob, and he's the 73-year-old retired gentleman, serviceman. He purchased a house for $32,000, correct? He put down $8,000, okay? And then he financed the rest, for, what was the percentage rate, 7%? 7%. So $180 a month for 300 months. So what we did is we just multiplied 300 by $180, and what it turned out to be is that Bob ended up paying $64,000 for a $32,000 house. Now,
There you go.
yeah, he bought two houses for the price of one. Now, I asked Bob, I said, when you went and got your mortgage, and before you get your keys, did they say that you're going to be paying $64,000 for $32,000?
$180 a month. Excuse me.
Yeah, they told you $180 a month. You know what? Yeah, I will pay my $180 a month to get that key. But guess what? When you do the math, fees and commissions really turn out to be a huge amount. Put people in debt, compounding interest. Our next defensive strategy, taxes. So I love my country, and I love being here. I love being American. However, I feel like some of the tax money that I give out isn't necessarily handled the appropriate way. So we teach you how to play defense against tax laws. Simple enough. Offensively. Okay, first step. So growth. Need our money to grow in order to have a solid offensive strategy. Income. You need to make money in order to grow money. Safety. Now, a lot of us may think that safety is a defensive strategy. We go into it and we show you how safety can ultimately be an offensive strategy. When you don't lose money, and the power of compounding interest will show you that it really does make sense to have no risk when it comes to your money. So offensively, next, liquidity. If I made my money, I earned my money, worked, sweated for it, then I want to use it when I want to use it. I don't want to be subject to having to wait for things, especially in case of emergency, or especially in the case of needing to pay a bill. It's my money, I earned it. So offensively, tax efficiency. Again, defensively, offensively, worry about taxes. Why? Because 28% of most people's budgets go towards taxes in some variation. And it's important as one of the biggest expenses that we have to address it so that maybe we can reduce it in a moral and legal way. Makes sense. All right. So next up, how money works, the rules of the money game. So we talked about underlying defensive, offensive strategies, but in order to win the game, you got to know the rules. So I'm going to bring up Trey Carter, who's been with our company for a while, and just give him a round of applause.
Thank you, sir. All right. Good evening, everybody. Bob, I don't know if I see you the first time you're here. So pleasure to meet you. Hello, everybody in TV land. So first things first is, we're going to go over what's called the Rule 72. And what it is, it's how money works using the compounding effect of interest. And this is personally one of my favorite things because, like any other sport, or I've heard Ryan say it, he gives a great analogy. If you go to, your cabin house up north and you're going to play a board game, what's the first thing you do? You're going to pull out the directions, right? Because if you don't know how to play the game, you're already going to lose. So these are the most basic concepts, and it's just the basic building blocks of how money works. And in my personal opinion, I feel as though we should have been taught this, at least in high school, We've talked to people with MBAs, you know, and CPAs, every degree imaginable, and they've never even heard of the simple concept called the Rule 72. Or they'll say, yeah, I've heard of it, except they don't know what it is, how to apply it, and utilize it. So that's what we're here to show you tonight, is the rules of the money game. So if you want to give me a quick ride. Pretty familiar guy there, Albert Einstein. And he's actually the creator of the Rule 72. And he said it's the greatest mathematical discovery of all time. So for him to say that, that's pretty powerful. He came up with a lot of stuff. I'm not a bright guy, however, he is. And for him to say that, you know, I would agree. Give me another click there, Ryan. Rule 72 is, like I said, how many doubles using the compounding effect of interest. And what you do is you take whatever interest rate you're acquiring, divide it into 72. The result is how many years it's going to take your money to double. For example, if you're earning 1% interest, you divide that into 72, that equals 72. So it's going to take 72 years for your money to double on top of itself. Everybody follow?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, give me a click. Bob, you're our guest here tonight, so you're going to love me because I am turning you 23, booga booga. So you're 23 again. And I just opened up a bank today. Because, I mean, what do people do when they go get paid? Where's the first place they go? The bank. The bank. And what I did today is I built a pretty building with 4 walls, you know, put a little vault back there and slap a sign up top. And it's, you know, International Bank of Tea. My name's Trey, so that's the name of the bank. And when you come and make your deposit with me, I'm going to give you a free cruise with the Facila guy. And like Ryan says, any flavor lollipop you want. Is that a pretty good deal, Bob? I mean, you got some years on your life. You're going to deposit $5,000 in my bank, and we're going to go on a cruise and party it up together. Can you tell me, do you happen to know what Passport savings are paying now as far as interest rate in the Passport savings?
Maybe 5.
0.05, not even half a percent. Yeah, just in a regular savings account, not a CD or anything, just a regular bank account. Yeah, it's not even 0.5%. It's like 0.03, Ryan, right? Because I think it went up a little bit.
It went up a very
Yeah, so not even 0.5%. So for this example, you know, I'm going to be very generous and give you 2%, Bob. So 4 times what banks are giving. And so if you want to give me a quick ride.
Yeah.
72 divided by 2 is 36 years. So your one-time deposit, $5,000, you got your cruise. And then now your money is going to double every 36 years because you're earning 2%. Rule 72, you divide in 72. So go ahead and play it out for me real quick, Ryan. At the age of 95, we have $20,000. Now, if you think about it, about 50, 70 years ago, a new car cost, you know, $2-3 grand. And now a new car costs about 30 to 40 grand. So at that point, you're not even keeping up with inflation. So if you give me one more click, there's a little sarcasm there, woohoo. Because with $20,000, if you're not pushing up daisies, maybe you'll be able to go buy a loaf of bread, some peanut butter and jelly, and have a picnic with, you know, your grandson or something. So I don't like that, Bob. So what I'm going to do, I'm a very nice guy. I'm going to go ahead and give you 6% on your money. So what we did is we tripled the interest rate and cut the doubling period into a third. So instead of doubling every 36 years, you're going to be doubling every 12 now. And you've been here, Bob. Maybe you don't remember. So we're gonna see how good your memory is here. At the age of 95, here, same $5,000, 23. What do you think you'll have at the age of 95? Now remember, I just tripled the interest rate and cut the doubling period into a third. You don't have to be correct. This is audience participation.
Probably 600,000.
600,000. Okay. So I normally make deals. I don't think I want to make a deal with you today, so we're just going to play it out because I'm going to be negative here. Excuse me. Just play it out, right? So, Bob, you're a very smart guy. You took all my money, almost doubled my money. Normally, people are, you know, they'll say, oh, it's triple interest rate, 60,000. And you know, that just shows you the power of compounding interest because we only went up 4 percentage points, so it's not a very astronomical difference. However, those 4 percentage points, when you compound out over time, you can see the difference. And then for the last example here, we're going to do 8%. And 8% is attainable. It's about what the market has averaged over the lifetime of the market. So it's not impossible to get this. People just don't know how to get it. And so if you take 72 divided by 8, every 9 years, your money's going to double now. Francisco, what do you think you're going to have at the age of 95? So we just increased it by 2 percentage points and cut the doubling period down by 3 years. 900,000? 900,000, okay. Now, I will make a deal with Francisco. So you get the $900,000, Francisco. And the Bank of Trey is going to keep the change. So go ahead, play it out for me here, Ryan. Doubling every 9 years now. And at the age of 95, you have $1.28 million. Thank you, Francisco. You just paid $380,000 for a cruise. Appreciate it. Please come back again. Now, what's wrong with this? Well, before we go on to that, pretty rhetorical question, Bob. A, over here on the left, or B, over here on the right. Your choice. I'm sure you're a smart guy. You're going to pick B, right? You're going to go with money. What's wrong with this, though, is right before, we showed this example, we talked about how banks are only giving not even half a percentage point, and yet everybody goes in and hands the bank their money because they think it's safe. They don't know any better. And what the banks are doing is they're taking your money and they're going and give people like Bob, the mortgage you got, they're going and giving people a mortgage and loaning people money on credit cards and all kinds of personal loans, and they're going and getting that 8%. So they're taking your money, they're going to make $1.28 million and only give you and your family $20,000. That doesn't sit right with me. And if anyone out there in TV land, if this is your first time seeing it, you should kind of be in awe right now, because we work hard for our money, and to know that the banks are legalized extorting us, legalized, I don't think I said that right. Legally, there we go, thank you, Ryan. Legally extorting us, it's not right. I want that $1.28 million. I don't want the bank to have it. And so that's just a very simple concept of how money works. You can see the difference of 2% and 8%. Common sense, you want to make your money work for you. You don't want to have it sitting in a bank getting that $20,000, right? Right. And a big problem is, William just talked about it. Bob, bought a house for $32,000, and he's going to literally pay double. And so right now, the Rule 72 is not working in Bob's favor. It's working in the bank's favor. It's literally doubling its money on it. So what we want to do is reverse that process. We want to educate people, show people how to reverse the process and use the same tools that the banks are using to your advantage. Same money, just different principles, different concepts. And it's not necessarily conventional wisdom. However, math doesn't lie, people do. And that's all it is. So what we're going to show you next is a very quick video on an amazing debt software program we have. That's next, right? That's what's next. Quick 5-minute video. Bob, you'll love it. Anybody out there in TV land, if you know anyone with a mortgage, it's not just mortgage assistance works for, it's student loans, credit cards, auto loans. I have the program myself personally just to budget, track me, and help me with my own finances. So sit back, enjoy, and yeah.
And yeah. Here we go.
Coming right up.
Since your dad's not here tonight, maybe we'll get out before 9.
I think so. So.
By tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's right. And it's all in interest payments. Americans are overpaying their mortgages.
Can you get any louder?
I think so. Yeah, I got it. Oh. Did you know that millions of Americans are overpaying their mortgages? And not by a little, by tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's right. And it's all in interest payments. The fact is, most Americans could be living the lives they've always dreamed of if they weren't spending the majority of their adult lives paying for the lives their lenders have dreamed of. In this video, we're going to show you how overpaying your mortgage is robbing you of the future you could have, and what you can do to stop paying for somebody else's dream and start turning your financial dreams into reality. So let's get started. Meet Bob and Katie Smith. The Smiths own their own home, and they're in a pretty typical mortgage situation for millions of homeowners across the U.S. Your individual mortgage details may differ from this example, but the financial principles remain the same. Bob and Katie have a 30-year mortgage for $200,000 at a 4.5% interest rate and a monthly payment of just over $1,000 per month. Bob feels like they're pretty lucky to get a 4.5% rate. I mean, that's a great deal, isn't it? Well, to answer that, let's take a closer look at that 4. How much of the Smiths' payment every month is going toward interest and how much is going toward principal? By the end of the first year, they've paid their lender more than $12,000. Of that, nearly $9,000 went toward interest. That means that over 73% of the money Bob and Katie paid their lender in year one went toward nothing but interest. That's 73% of their payments up in smoke. And in year two, it doesn't look much better. Once again, Bob and Katie paid their lender over $12,000. And of that, more than $8,700 went toward paying interest. That means that in year two, over 72% of the Smiths' money went toward nothing but interest. Now let's fast forward to year 20. By year 20, Bob and Katie have paid over $243,000, but they still owe their lender over $97,000 in principal on their loan. That means that after paying all that money, the Smiths still owe almost half the original amount they borrowed. And by year 30, the amount Bob and Katie have paid their lender totals almost $365,000, of which nearly $165,000 went toward paying nothing but interest. That means that they've paid their lender over 82% of the amount they originally borrowed, just in interest payments. That's 82%. Quite a far cry from the warm and fuzzy feeling the Smiths had when they heard they got a 4.5% loan. So where do all the billions and billions of dollars homeowners are paying the banks in interest go? Exactly. Homeowners like Bob and Katie from all across the nation spend their lives making interest payments to the banks and wonder why they never get ahead. But guess what? It doesn't have to be this way anymore. What would you say if someone told you that there is a simple online banking solution helping homeowners like you put an average of 18 years or more worth of mortgage payments back in their own pocket? How excited do you think people like Bob and Katie would be if instead of having to pay the bank over $164,000 in interest payments, they could pay less than $63,000, the same amount of interest they would pay if they had just a 1.9% fixed rate on their mortgage? That's nearly $102,000 in interest payments they would save, and their house would be paid off free and clear in just 12 years versus 30. Thanks to our online banking solution, Bob and Katie would be done making mortgage payments in just 12 years. What could you do with over 18 years of mortgage payments you no longer had to pay to the bank? Just imagine the possibilities. And you don't have to refinance. You don't have to change banks. You don't have to increase your minimum monthly payment. And you don't have to modify your mortgage or change your mortgage terms in any way. Just imagine the freedom you would have if you no longer had to make mortgage payments to anyone. Don't waste another minute. Watch the corresponding overview video right now.
Cool. So Bob, that might resonate with you a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
And it's the truth. Yeah. We spoke about it. And like I said, it's not just for mortgages. For instance, if you know, a typical American might have a mortgage, they might have an auto loan, they might have student loans, they might have credit cards. They're gonna say they want an RV. If you have 5 different debts, there's over 700 different combinations to possibly pay that off, and which one's the fastest, most efficient manner for you to do it. And that's exactly what this program does. It takes every penny you make, every penny you spend into calculation, and now has it working for you instead of other institutions. And Bob, who do you know in their right mind that instead of paying a 30-year mortgage, if they could pay it off in 8 to 12 years, why wouldn't you? And put 10, 20 years of mortgage payments back in your pocket. I mean, we're running into this just about every day. It's common sense. If you could put money back in your pocket instead of other institutions, you can have it working for you, why wouldn't you? Very simple. And so that's the biggest thing is, everybody's encumbered by debt, and debt does stink. And what do we do when we get out of debt? Where do we go? Because we want our money to work for us, right? It's either you work for money or money works for you. And I'm tired of working for money, so I want my money working for me. So this is just one concept. It's never one size fits all. However, in most situations, this is most beneficial, and it makes the most sense for the majority of people. So what we're going to do is just show you a quick 3-minute video. One of our partners on the other coast, Brian Daly, did a great job with this video. It's called Red Line, Blue Line, just to give you a quick concept of what we can do when we get you out of debt, and where to go and be the most efficient with your money. And go ahead and enjoy another video. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for joining me here. I wanted to give you a quick snapshot on what it is that we're doing. This is a snapshot of our program, Red Line, Blue Line. Not knowing anything about anything, if you had to choose one of these two lines to put your money on, would you choose the red line or the blue line? The blue line, of course, right? Because it's more money. If you look closer, what you realize too is that it never goes down. It only goes up. Never go backwards. Gains are locked in. But the story gets better than that. In addition, that $211,000 is income tax free. The red line is the Standard & Poor's 500 index. That's the stock market. 500 of the largest stocks in America. And if you look at this 165, about 95% of mutual funds do not outperform the Standard & Poor's 500 index, meaning that most people in mutual funds, 401ks, IRAs, so on, actually had less money than the 165. But we still have to deduct fees because fees didn't come out of this. The average fee is about 3%, can be anywhere between 1.5% to as much as 5%. Many people aren't even aware that they're paying these fees because they're hidden in what looks like a phone book written by a Philadelphia lawyer called a prospectus. But when they examine that, the Los Angeles Times said the average is about 3%. And in this case, on $100,000, that would be about $3,000 a year in expenses that you have to pay, by the way, whether you make money or lose money. And if we just roughed the numbers out and said $3,000 on $100,000 over 15 years, means you'd have to subtract $45,000 out of this number. But we still have to take taxes out. And if you even looked at a 10% or 15%, 20% tax bracket, very conservatively, you're about where you started 15 years earlier. Now, you put up 100% of the money, took 100% of the risk, and ended up about where you started 15 years later. I want you to think about this. The mutual fund company put up zero money, took zero risk, and they made $45,000 in the profit. $17 trillion today is on the red line in qualified plans. That's 17 trillion with a T. Without anyone spending one additional dollar, don't you think that most people would prefer to be on the blue line? In addition, this comes with all sorts of other benefits. This is net of fees, charges, expenses, and it's also income tax free. So here we have a smarter, more complete alternative to 403b, 401k, IRA, mutual funds, to the stock market, where you don't have the risk. By the way, that $211,000 is guaranteed never to be less than that. It can only go up, never go down. In addition, there's other benefits that come along with it. When you look at the whole package, it's, again, a no-brainer.
All right. Red line or blue line?
Blue.
Francisco? Blue. Azul. If you want to just give me a click to the history. So what we're going to do is real quickly, I'm going to run through the history of this product, why you don't know about it, and why it's available, how it works, what it does, how it can benefit you and the general American public. So again, the blue line is what we call an IUL, an Index Universal Life. I am assuming the last thing you thought you'd come here to learn about is life insurance. However, this isn't your father's and grandfather's life insurance anymore. Bob, would you agree that medicine, technology, everything in this world is advancing rapidly?
100%.
No, 100%, yeah. And so do the rules and regulations in the financial sector. So it's no different here. And the funny thing is I've talked to licensed agents that are in the business, have been in the industry for 20, 30 years, and have no idea what this is. And Ryan, I'll never forget, Ryan gave the story when he came to a building here to do his exam. The instructor just very briefly went over what an IUL is, and Ryan said, you know, hey, what is that? Because I want to learn more about it. And the guy was just like, oh, that's some new thing. You know, so it's like what they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So what it does is it gives you three things. It gives you life insurance, which even in the good book, it says a wise man establishes a legacy for his children's children. It gives you something called living benefits, which is my personal crusade. However, somebody else is going to come get the living benefits portion tonight, Lindsay, and a tax-free retirement. Yeah, this is one of my favorite. I'm sorry, you're getting picked on a lot tonight, Bob. And if you had your choice for retirement, would you rather pay taxes or not pay taxes? Amen. Amen. Everything I'm asking is pretty much common sense. It's just we got to make sure you're a bright guy, you know. And so far, you're 100%. It's great though, because I don't want Uncle Sam dipping in my pocket any more than he already does. And considering we're nearly $18 trillion in debt, do you believe taxes are going to go up or down in the future? Up. That's the only way it's going to go. And people think that they're high. Now, would you consider them high now, Bob? The top tax bracket's 39.6%. Would you consider that pretty high? And you've lived through this, and so I'm sure you can attest to it. It's actually the second lowest it's ever, third lowest it's ever been in the history right now. You know, it's been as high as 92% back in who was it? World War II, yeah. And I wish we had the tax chart on here so we could bring it up.
It is on here.
Is it? Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
However, you know, if we could legally opt out of paying taxes for retirement, tell me why you wouldn't. Why would you pay taxes if you don't have to? So, go ahead, give me another quick one. Again, over here, like it says, it defends against market loss, which agrees with the defense and offensive strategy that we showed you earlier. High fees and commissions, you know, we literally cut that in about half, and we get a service in return instead of paying somebody that doesn't even know us or care about us. And then tax loss, we just talked about that. Declining health, we'll talk about. And then protecting and preserving our state. So the history of the IUL, how it even came about and why it's available is, first of all, in 1950s, the tax code. I'm sure everybody's heard of the tax code. You know, we're all law-abiding citizens here. And in the tax code is written, you can write this down if you want. It's tax code section 7702 and 101. And what that says is so long you couple your money with a life insurance policy at a certain ratio, you can actually grow your money tax-free or tax-deferred and then pool it tax-free. Only if it's wrapped around a life insurance policy. Now, obviously, they have Roth IRAs, Roth 401ks, stuff like that. Very, very few ways to get tax-free income, and this is one of them. If you ask me, one of the most beneficial, and you'll see here in a second. Secondly, in 1976, a man named John Bogle, you might have heard of him, created indexing. I'm not going to go through an entire financial lesson right now. However, you can see indexing. That's where the I comes in IUL, indexing. And all it is an investment strategy. And what you need to know and understand about it is that it beats any other form of investment. Ryan's a scientist, went and found the white pipers himself. It beats any other form of investment 92% of the time after 5 years, correct? So it's like going to a casino. If there's a machine that says, hey, this wins 92% of the time, and then everything else is just regular, where are you going, William?
Going to that machine.
Amen.
32.
Amen. I mean, that's pretty good odds there. Now, if I'm going to put my money somewhere, I'm going to put it there. Then in 1999, there was what was called the Financial Modernization Act. Before that was something called the Glass-Steagall Act. And what that was, it was an act in the books that said, hey, banks, you can only do banking, insurance, you can only do insurance, and then stock, bonds, and mutual funds, you can only do that. You cannot compete, you cannot cross streams, you only offer what you got. In 1999, they repealed the act and created what was called the Financial Modernization Act, which is why you can go into a bank now and get life insurance, or you can go to with an insurance company, do investments, all vice versa. So now they can compete, and they could make really superior products because now it's just an open canvas for everybody. And who do you think won, Bob, out of banks, insurance companies, and stockbrokers, mutual fund people? Out of those three industries. Brokers did not win. Francisco? Banks or insurance companies, who won? Amen. Yeah, exactly. And that's somebody that we actually represent. If you think about it, you have a car, you got to legally have car insurance. We're mandated to have health insurance. Bomb, you have a home, you have homeowners insurance. People insure cell phones. People insure their life. People insure everything. And 85% of the global wealth goes through insurance companies. So if you can't bet on them, who are you going to bet on? It's my favorite question to ask people. Their job is they're in the protection and distribution business. They protect you and they distribute. Yes, sir.
How did the Powerball winnings get paid out?
Yeah, that's actually really cool. You seen that the other day?
I got
Lottery winnings, yeah. Lottery winnings are actually paid out by insurance companies. Annuities is all they are. Obviously, you can take the lump sum up front. That won't be through an insurance company. However, if you choose to take it over time, you just get a lump sum annuity. So they actually pay out lottery winnings. And they're just the most powerful companies in the world. And then lastly, in 2000 was the development of IUL. And in 2004, like everything else, you work out the kinks, and it's still being perfected to this day. So in life, we're going to do one of three things. We're either going to die, we're going to get sick, or we're going to live a long, healthy life. Would you guys agree? That's pretty much the only options we have. And what an IUL does, and it covers you in every single one of those situations. If you die, your family's taken care of. If you get sick, you're about to learn about living benefits, which covers that. And then obviously, if we live a long, healthy life, you have a tax-free retirement income stream that you cannot outlive. So we refer to it as the Swiss cheese the Swiss Army knife of finances. And to go ahead and wrap it up here and tell you what living benefits is, Lindsay is going to come up and kill it. Thank you guys for your time, and have a great night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go, Lindsay.
You got it, Lindsay.
Woo.
Okay. Hi. So living benefits is living benefits provide a solution if you live too long, get sick, die too soon. Usually if you have living benefits, you have to do what to benefit from your living benefits?
If you have life insurance.
Life insurance. I'm sorry. Life insurance.
You gotta die.
Exactly. Well, we offer living benefits. There's 16 different modalities that if you have a heart attack, a stroke, cancer, these types of things that happen in life. Actually, my father had a heart attack when we were younger, and he luckily worked for the police department, so he was able to be covered, but he still wasn't paid for the time that he was out of work. So my mom actually went back to work. I remember that time very clearly. So that is something that happens often in real life situations. So that's why it's important to have living benefits.
How often? 7 out of 10?
Yeah, 7 out of 10 who reach age 65 will experience one of the big three, which is a heart attack, stroke, or cancer. Has anyone in here had anyone close to them have any of those three things?
And survive? Yeah.
Yes. So I don't know what the situation was, but maybe they had to be out of work and they couldn't pay their bills. So that's why this was created. What was the name of the
Bernard Brothers.
Okay, so the Bernard Brothers created living benefits. There was a lady overseas who had a kidney transplant, lung transplant, and she was a single mother, had children, could not provide for her children while she was out sick. So when she went to the hospital, she had to obviously be bedridden. She did not listen to the doctor because she had to take care of her children, and she ended up dying. And those children were not able to, live life the way they should have if they would have had their mom. And obviously, what would those children want? Their mom or, or insurance plan, obviously their mother. So that is living benefits, and the importance of it is being able to provide for your loved ones if in the case that you were to have any of these 16 modalities, you would be able to still provide for your family. Okay.
I see you growing as you're doing.
All right, bro.
The conversation.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I didn't say hi. I said all right.
All right.
So thanks for everybody for being in tune with that. We're here for two reasons: to get people out of debt, and begin to use that debt as an asset to save in the right places. Listen, we have guys like me that believe in the blue line and tax-free retirement. I still have market-based accounts. In fact, I was a teacher in Tennessee where I just came back from yesterday and had to have a market-based account called a 401k. Through this education and consumer advocacy with Empower, I learned, just like we're teaching everyone else, right? Adult education is often about money, why it's important to save money in non-market-based accounts that are tax-free. And oh, by the way, when you can attach it to something that Lindsay described, living benefits, then you've really blessed yourself with a situation where you can not necessarily relax. It doesn't mean you're going to be a bankrolled millionaire. It certainly does mean, though, that as long as you stay committed and pay yourself first, right, build long-term savings, then you can count on a guaranteed tax-free retirement income that will not, that you can't outlive. You can't beat that. And so we're here to educate people about that opportunity. It's our crusade to make sure people know that this is available to them, right? We found through this organization that people really know the least about what they work the hardest for, right? We go to work every day for money, and you talk to a lot of adults and people know the least about it. Makes no sense to me, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I wasn't one of them at one point. And so with that opportunity, and like the video said, $17 trillion sitting on the red line today. If you had an opportunity to be in a business where you can move the most money that's ever been accumulated in one spot in human history into another spot, y'all would agree that's a pretty big opportunity, right? It's the biggest opportunity that's ever existed to move $17 trillion. There's never been that much money accumulated in one place. And we can move that money. That's going from the red line to the blue line. So we offer everyone an opportunity. We're looking for like-minded people. And for you to be part of the opportunity, it's not just something you can jump on and do, right? This isn't potions, lotions, and pills. It's a state-regulated industry and federal. However, to obtain the ability to do it, you got to obtain a license, and that comes from your state. So we teach folks how to do that, and we won't get into the details of that. It's the pretty boring stuff, to be honest. So in the beginning, you gotta do a little bit of crap. Excuse my vernacular. However, it is worth it. And I'm speaking from experience. A person like me who has a lot of responsibilities. I've been blessed by a self-employed business model, right? I have to run a nonprofit organization in Tennessee, and I'm back and forth all the time, dealing with affairs and trying to do things that matter for kids. And so having the freedom to be self-employed has blessed me, and it's my mission to make sure it can bless other people, right? Trey, we can only get to where we want to go in life by helping others get to where they want to go. So if we can do that, we can be effective in the things that we really are passionate about in life. And I never would think that I'd be passionate about insurance, investing, finance. And I'm not telling you that I am passionate about that. I'm telling you that it's a huge opportunity to change lives in a way that is direct. right? It affects people immediately. And you can provide them an education. And if you can provide them an education and even get them inspired and excited, well, you can share an opportunity to crusade with them. So we're going to bring up a compensation chart for you that'll show you exactly how much money you can make. As a teacher in Tennessee, I made, in terms of teachers and educators, great money. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation found out about some of the crap going on in Memphis, Tennessee, and put a whole lot of money into that city to make sure that good educators can get there. Meaning, even as a brand new educator there, I got paid pretty good money. I was definitely comfortable, and it's a cheap place to live. Since then, I've been able to replace that income and move to a place that's more expensive and still be okay. And I'm not done yet because it's up to us to build this agency, right? We got to be leaders. So part-time, in less than 90 days, you can get to a position called VP in our company and our agency. And when you do that, just by helping 2 people a month, that's 2 people a month. That's how many is that in a year? 24?
Yeah, 24.
24 people in a year. So you help 24 people in a year to a month. It's extremely manageable. That's a part-time gig. And by the way, we help you. We basically do it with and for you, right? Especially when you're in the training phase to get to that point. You can make an income of, what is it, $56,000, just a little over $56,000. That's more than most college graduates make when they get their first job out of college. Why would you work full-time right out of college with a degree when you can do it part-time here? I understand you want, huh?
With no degree.
With no degree.
We're college debt.
With no degree or no debt, right? And this is a business that has really no overhead. So you don't have to go take out a bank loan to start a restaurant, right? So that's for personal producers. We have a lot of referral agents, right? Bob can come on and throw some people our direction who want tax-free income, who don't want to lose their life savings in the market. And Bob can do that on a referral basis. That's awesome. We love that. We have referral agents, and those people sometimes make big checks. Depends who you know. For others, they're young like me. I don't happen to know that many people with a ton of money. Hopefully one day I do. Hopefully one day I am. However, right now, I'm trying to become that person. So how else can we approach the business? Well, you come on and train a few people. Let's say you bring on, what do we do, 3? Mm-hmm. Let's say you bring on 3 people and train them to do what you did. Okay? You can become one of the 4% of people in the United States that make a 6-figure income. That brings you up to $120,000 of income just by training a couple people, building a small team, and having that small team be an effective moving team on a crusade to move money from the red line to the blue line. So it's the biggest opportunity that exists. I promise you I wouldn't be up here saying that if I didn't believe it. I'm not one person that was desperate for an opportunity. I had all the opportunity in the world. And I don't say that to boast. I just say that to enrich the credibility of the opportunity to you, to make sure you know it's not just for people that need something. It's for everyone, okay? I turned down a lot to be part of this because I have bigger dreams and bigger ambitions than most. So that's what I love. You don't have to have huge ambitions to come in here and make a difference. You can come on as a referral agent, and then you can also just build a team and be a CEO. So it's endless, the opportunity. And what we'd ask you to do for you folks that are online, thank you for sitting down your computer and spending the time. We really do appreciate that. We'll get with you. Whoever sent you the link will provide you with a next step, whether it's getting your own FIP. In fact, anyone have one? We just like to show an FIP. The goal here, we just collect some data. That's really all we do. It's nothing personal. We collect some data. We throw it into our numbers. We contract with some of the biggest financial companies in the country. We're independent, so we can shop around. That's what consumer advocacy is, right? We can shop around with the biggest institutions, find out what's best for you, and we do the math. We show you the math. We plug it in, and we create something called an FIP. And this sometimes gets you out of debt if you have that, or it just gets you in touch with a consistent tax-free retirement plan. or a number of different things. It could be anything, not one size fits all. So get with the person who gave you the link or who invited you here. We can make that happen in a meeting, kitchen table appointment, and if you're interested in an opportunity, we will connect you with the information you need to do that. And before we go, Trey, what would you like best about what you heard tonight?
I liked hearing Lindsay, push through it. You could tell it's something obviously you work on. First time I was the same way though. So every time you get better at it, and failing is really just another experience to learn.
Yeah, I didn't plan it.
Yeah, and that's the best way. You got to be able to overcome adversity.
Mhm.
And once you feel comfortable doing stuff like that, then you'll be able to talk to anybody about anything, and you'll have a lot more confidence. And it's something I constantly work on too. So it's great. It's great to see that.
It's the only way, right? It's the only way. I remember being 22 years old and walking in front of my first classroom with 30 kids, and I didn't know what to say, right? And then a semester later, like I'm their favorite teacher, and we're kicking butt, right? So it's the only way to start, right? And everybody owes Lindsay congratulations. She had a member join her team, and Ryan, if you're there, we're so happy to have you. So we can go talk to all the people in the world, and really all that matters is the ones that matter are the ones that listen and the ones that take action. Ryan, you took action. Lindsay, you took action. Kicking butt, growing your team. Doesn't even have to be here in Florida, right? We're using technology to expand our agency and continue on our crusade. So congratulations, Lindsay. Welcome, Ryan. Joyce, what do you like best about tonight?
I liked best about tonight seeing that the Rule 72 means I can earn more money on my own investments instead of the banks.
Just simple interest rates, right? It's amazing what people don't understand about basic stuff. Francisco, what do you like best about tonight?
I like everything. Everything.
Everything was. I agree. Amen. I thought everything was awesome. And so I believe we did awesome on time tonight. It's prior to 9, and Coach Young, who's normally here, has an FEG convention actually out in Vegas, where hopefully when he's done, the entire organization, Freedom Equity Group, will be marketing our debt software. So that's a big negotiation that needs to take place. That's thousands of new agents. And so y'all say a little prayer for Coach, make sure that he's blessed with the words that he'll need to say to make those negotiations effective. And all of a sudden, our marketing software won't just be in power. It'll be all over FEG. And he's out in Vegas for that. That's a leaders convention. We'll be following him out there in, June or July? June. So can't wait for that. If you're on the camera, that's some information to write down. Sometime in June, we'll be going to Vegas. Listen for more information on that. It'll be a life and business altering and changing experience for everybody.
Tax
So,
write-off.
what's that?
Tax write-off.
And a tax write-off if you own a home-based business. So Ryan, if you're on there, you're a home-based business owner now. You can write off everything you're doing pretty much. Before we go, you guys have to do one more thing. And we had Trey, William, and Lindsay speak.
Joyce.
And Joyce, I'm sorry. So you need to give them a big round of applause. Everybody have a good night. I'll click it off.